Gay will keep us updated on that particular front. But right now we want to shift focus to the conversation centered on the state of the nation. Right now we just want to converse with the legislator who's already in studio, Geoffrey Ruku, the Member of Parliament, Mbeere North. Thank you so much for your time and honoring our invite. I know it's quite busy when, reacting with, or rather when you're going back to Mashinani, when Parliament is on a recess. We'll get to how the people of Mbeere North are doing and your reactions to a couple of issues that are being highlighted right here on the discussion. We just want to hear from Jackson Ole Sapit, the ACK Archbishop, on his blanket ban on politicians addressing congregants all the pulpit and equally voicing their contributions aloud. Let's listen in.
Sababu tumesema basi kanisa hitakuwa jukwaa la kuendesha siasa hizo, na hii hailengi wale walikuja leo. Tunasema kwa wote ambaye ni wanasiasa, mahali kanisa la Anglikana itakuwa inakutana, hatutakuwa na nafasi kama ni ibada. Na tumesema pia sisi tujaitisha harambe na hela za kanisani asitatangazwa. Ukitaka ulete ikiwa vile ilivyo na iweke vile ilivyo, maana ile tunapeana kwa Mungu haina haja ya kutangazia wanadamu.
All right, there you had it from the ACK Archbishop on his ban on politicians from addressing congregants in the Anglican churches across the country. This coming at a time when politicians have been taken to the podium to address congregants and give donations openly. Ruku, it's great to have you with us. Perhaps let's start from how the people of Mbeere North are doing. I know Parliament is on a short recess. You must have had a busy weekend interacting with your constituents. How's the progress so far, Kwa Ground?
Yeah, the people of Mbeere North are good. I was there over the weekend, and of course I'll be there within the course of the week and also the weekend. There are quite a number of issues which need to be taken care of. Okay. Especially issues to do with the project which are already ongoing. Also finishing the bursaries process for secondary schools, and also starting bursary process for tertiary and university schools. I mean, university student. So there's quite a lot of work which needs to be done across Mbeere North.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, let's start with perhaps the church and politics debate. Were you attending a church service on Sunday? Did you get a chance to speak to the congregants? And what do you make of such a move by the ACK leadership to ban politicians from addressing congregants at the pulpit?
This Sunday I was not able to attend a church service because I had meeting across Saturday, up to 4 a.m.
Okay.
So sometimes a meeting can take very long duration.
Yeah.
But what the bishop, the Archbishop of ACK has said, to me is very welcome. It's very welcome because most of the politicians have taken this as where they go on Sundays to make their statement, their political statement, especially politicians who are a bit idle, who don't have much to do from Monday to Friday.
Okay.
They only look for barrios and churches to go there and make some of these statements. Actually, from where I stand, such a stand also should go up to the barrios. But if you are going to Mbeere and after one, let's go and mourn with the family. Let's not go there and start making the barrio a political ground where it's going even to turn chaotic. We saw what happened in Kirinyaga a few weeks ago. Yeah. We saw what happened in Rumuru. These are some of the things which should not be happening. So for me, I think I support the decision by the Archbishop of ACK to ensure we go to church for spiritual nourishment, for blessings, to play and to communion together for our fellowship, instead of going to church to make political statement and to prove who is stronger than the other. It's a sacred place. We should go there to reflect on what God has done to our individual lives, our families.
Okay, but this isn't the first time that such a ban is being pronounced against politicians politicking at the pulpit. It's been said before, but ever so often do we see politicians, both from government and opposition, actually defy these orders and stick to their guns, mentioning that, hey, we will continue with politicking at the pulpit. Equally, the head of state has been quite vocal in his pronouncements, especially at the church. Some criticize him for politicking at the pulpit as well. So when you say leaders perhaps are not too busy and at the end of the day they want to articulate their issues at the pulpit, are you equally referring to the head of state?
The head of state has enough platform to talk to Kenyans. He can decide to talk to Kenyans from State House. He has enough platform to address Kenyans on a day-to-day basis. He doesn't need any church to address Kenyans. But we know there are those politicians who, if they are not in church, they are not in Mbeere, they will not be able to address Kenyans anywhere. Because also the capacity to call people together, their capacity is also limited. Remember, church is a congregation which is free, which you have not mobilized, which is actually the pastors and bishops have made it that you are there. I mean, they are there, so you take advantage. So the end of state does not require any kind of congregation for him to say whatever he wants to say to Kenyans. And that's why I think it is for those who are taking advantage, is for those who are not having any official capacity. From where I stand, I don't need to be in a church for me to be able to address the people of Mbeere North or articulate the issues of the nation. I have too many functions in my community, in my constituency. And I can take that as a platform where I will say whatever I want to say. And on Sunday, I am dedicated to spiritual nourishment, to prayers, to fellowship. So I think it's welcome. But you will find that there are those, Kalonzo Musyoka, there are those like Rigathi Gachagua and the like, they are taking advantage of the church congregation to preach hatred, discord, conflict, division, ethnic vitriol, which is very, very wrong. Not only biblically, but also is against our constitution.
So from where you sit, it's just the political leaders who are taking advantage of the pulpit to spread hatred and ethnic divisions, not the government allied members of parliament?
What I'm saying is probably they are there who are aligned to government, who may want to respond to what the other counterpart have said. But what I'm trying to say is that those who are on official capacity, like myself, my brother here, Honorable Kakuya, and others, we don't need a congregation, don't need a church platform for us to be able to address Kenyans, to address our constituents. We don't need. We should respect church as a holy ground where we seek spiritual guidance, where we seek God's blessings. So I think I support. You support. I support the bishops, and also I think that ban should extend even to barrios, so that we give respect to those who have the bereaved families. The families. I remember we had a very hungry function in my constituency, where one of the senior members of our constituency lost a son, and some politician came here to, preach hatred, discord, conflict, only that we were magnanimous enough to sit quietly and hold our cool, maintain our cool. Otherwise, that barrier would have turned to be ugly if we did not have total respect for the family and for the roast of the family and the community. So these are things which should not be happening.
Okay.
Let's respect those who are dead. Let's also be mindful to the family which has lost their loved ones. Let's respect our sanctuaries. Let's respect the guidance of our bishops.
That's noted. It's good to know you're in support of that particular move to ban politicians from the pulpit in ACK churches. We're honored to equally have the presence of James Gakuya, the Embakasi North Member of Parliament. Karibu sana mheshimiwa. We were just reflecting on the Archbishop Ole Sapit's move to stop politicking at the pulpit, specifically in ACK churches, and that move mirrored what the Catholic bishops had to say about politicking at the pulpit. Well, what's your reaction, your immediate reaction to that particular ban? Are you in support of it? And should it equally extend to those giving donations and in churches? Should that equally be banned, at least for politicians, not to mention how much they've set aside for a certain drive in the community church? What's your take on that?
Thank you, Rogers. And thank you also for having this opportunity. I'm sorry that I was somehow a few minutes late. But that notwithstanding, I will catch up. And coming to the statement made by ACK spiritual leader, I think yesterday, I would say sometimes the pulpit has been misused. And when politicians got an opportunity to address the gathering, sometimes they go too beyond, they go too much, even to a point where the respect that deserved to the pulpit has been forgotten. And therefore, I would say, totally yes, any church that feels that it may put such kind of caveat, it's welcome. But for those other churches who still have a room because one, there is no way that a politician will distance himself from the other believers, because a politician is also a believer. And I have the church I belong to. And most of the time I will get to that church even without asking for a permission to be given a minute to salute people. The bishop will not allow me to just walk out without saying something. So I would say, one, issues to do contributions of the magnitude that currently we have witnessed, and especially coming from the head of state, to me I would say that's not giving a very good picture. Comparing that there is so many other things that are required to be taken care of, and they are like forgotten. And therefore, people feel that such contributions require to go to the needy, because we have people who are sleeping hungry because of lack of food. And probably people will think that instead of taking this money to church, where I'm not saying that contributing to God is wrong, but there is other monies that we can start contributing, which becomes suspect. Because one, president, though that he's a business person, and he has, out of his side hustles, he has many other ways of making money. I don't want to say that, in fact, he relies with his allowances. But going by his allowances, which is about 2 million, then tells you once he presents about a token of 20 million, that tells you that is his 10 months allowances broke. And when he go beyond, say, 140, then in 1 month, then there is a suspicious mood that where could be these sources of, what could be the source of this money? And as much as we know the president, we know he's a businessman, We know he has he's a big farmer.
Okay.
We know he has other sources, but we are not saying we are against those church contributions. But we go back to what the Bible says. Don't allow the left hand to know what the right hand has contributed. So in this case, I would say, for the public to not to view the head of state as hoodwinking churches, because he has lost touch with the church for long. And I'm sure that now he's nearing to his re-election mode of campaign. He must push his state machinery lady. And money is one of the key drivers to hoodwink people. So we are asking ourselves, is this a route to start now hoodwinking Christians back to his store? And therefore, we wish that let us not move to that direction where people will think that this is the money that we think that it's a corrupt money, then allow that money to be given silently to the church. If we want to contribute such a big donation, just donate, but donate in silent. And that way, I will not feel offended. But if you come to, no. I also want to say this. When church now want to make a statement like what our Sapiti did yesterday.
Yes.
He must, yesterday, it was the chief guest was the head of state. And I asked myself one simple question. What about if the head of state was present? I am sure Sapiti could have allowed the head of state to have a minute or two to salute the public. So we would like to see a scenario where it is equal. When if you don't, if you bring a section of politician, also don't allow anybody. But you cannot allow the head of state, because you cannot deny a head of state a chance to salute the believers. If you have such a room, allow any other politician to do so that the church can be seen to be neutral. But church should not take a lead to ban such kind of speeches in a church when we still see them allowing the head of state taking the stage of the same. If there is a ban from ACK, let it be complete across board. And wherever we see a head of state as a guest, let us not see the head of state uttering a word inside the church. Let him address the gathering outside as directed by the bishop.
Okay. Interesting. Ruku, before we come to you, I just want to hear what the head of state had to say not too long ago, right after the Gen Z protests, because he went on record banning public servants and public officers from contributing in Harambees. Let's listen in to what he said.
No state officer or public servant shall participate in public contributions or Harambees going forward. The Attorney General is hereby directed to prepare and submit legislation to this effect and develop a mechanism for structured and transparent contributions for public, charitable, and philanthropic purposes. These measures will be followed by changes in government that I will be making shortly. We are determined to carry out this and other interventions to improve the quality, efficiency, and transparency in serving the people of Kenya.
So, Ruku, those who question the president's motive in all this, 1 minute he mentioned a blanket ban on contributions to churches, especially by public officers. Then the next minute he's at the forefront leading as a public officer in making contributions to the church. So should we take his word to the bank? What do you make of this?
From last year,
yeah,
we have not seen President William Ruto in an Arabi. What he has done in church is what the Bible teaches us. And he has stated again and again is a product. Is a product of giving. Is a product of giving. He has very strong Christian conviction as far as faith is concerned. This is known by every Kenyan from every corner of this country. For the last 30 years, he has participated in a great way in giving to the church.
Okay.
As his contribution, as his principle, as a matter of principle, to give to the church, to give to the house of God. And that's what he has been doing. So I have not seen where he has contradicted.
Are you sure where he has contradicted? When he was given the 20 million, he called the other church members to tell them, come together, form Harambee, I'll call my friends and they'll give 100 million. So that's the most recent.
Let me say this. Also, his intentions as far as the church and collaboration between the church and the state. Remember, even if you look at the books of history, how the church and the state have worked hand in hand to ensure the society move from one stage to the next. It is very difficult to dissect the church and the state. In every society, church and the state have been working together from the time of the Treaty of Westphalia of 1648 up to today. The church and the state have always worked together. So he is the end of state. And what my brother said here, as end of state, wherever he goes, he will definitely get an opportunity to say what he thinks or to address the nation, to address the congregation, because he occupies a very special position in our society. He is the symbol of the national unity. He represents the psyche of the Republic of Kenya, of the people of the Republic of Kenya.
Okay.
We cannot therefore equate him with any other politician out there until he get out of that office. That's the time now we can say William Ruto and Kalonzo Musyoka, they can the same law or the same ruling can apply from Sapiti. But you will find that it's not possible for at the moment by the virtue of the office which he occupies legally. So William Ruto is a product of giving to the church for over 30 years. He has contributed heavily in building churches across the Republic of Kenya, but not only churches, also he has assisted in coming up with a mosque to support madrasa, because faith, growth of faith is extremely important. Some of us, were it not for the churches, probably would have been street robbers. But because of the way faith has been inculcated in us from the time we were young, that's why you find that there's a society which is cohesive, which can be able to live together. Therefore, he has consistently supported the church for over 30 years through his contribution. So I think nothing wrong as far as contribution of this of his contribution to the church is concerned. All of us have different capacity financially. We have been blessed differently, and this huge amount of contribution which President has done now, even when he was a member of parliament for Eldoret North, he was still doing similar huge.
But he hadn't banned Harambees then. That's why we're trying to take a look. Is it double speak? Because from one end of the mouth you say, I ban Harambees in church, and then from the next you manifest your faith in giving towards the church. Yet you yourself banned.
I didn't see him conducting Harambee in Roysambu. What he did is to announce his personal contribution. And also he said, I'll talk to friends. Personally, I have friends I can call about, let's say, 100 friends who can give me, let's say, 100,000 each.
That's not a harambe.
Okay, to support a church.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm sure from where he sits as a head of state, he has friends across the country and also within the region,
okay,
probably 100 who can contribute more than 1 million Kenya shilling, because he has invested highly in his network over that, across to over that years.
All right,
so essentially what I'm saying is,
okay,
we have an obligation, biblical obligation,
yes,
to support the gospel,
okay,
of Jesus Christ.
All right.
So that is clearly in our teachings, in our biblical teaching.
All right.
So and we should not go against that, because this is what we have done again and again in the past. That is what the Bible teaches us.
Right.
Let's continue supporting the church.
Okay, we'll come back with the sentiments from James Gakuya, the MP for Embakasi North, as we continue deliberating on the latest stand by the church to ban politicians from speaking at the pulpit. We'll be back in a few.